Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to blackdoctor.org. I am your host this afternoon, Shamika Rhymes, and I am super excited about today's show because we have legendary actor Ernie Hudson in the building today. So, today we're going to be talking about defying age, staying active and healthy as we get older. And who better than to help us discuss this? Y'all have seen the photos and the videos of Mr. Hudson at 78 years old looking fine and fit. So, make sure that you drop in the chat where you're watching from, because, of course, we want to know where you're checking in from and drop your questions because at the end of the show, we're going to have a segment so that you can ask your questions to Mr. Hudson. So let me run down his resume because it is absolutely impressive. I'm going to give you all the highlights. Ernie Hudson is best known for his iconic role as Winston Zedmore in the Ghostbusters franchise. And that's a role he's played since 1984. He currently stars in and executive produces The Family Business on BET, and he's appeared in the NBC reboot of Quantum Leap and Netflix's Grace and Frankie. His guest roles include stars as City on a Hill, and he's been featured in shows like Modern Family, Law and Order, and LA's Finest, where he plays Gabrielle Union's father. Hudson earned a Golden Satellite Award for Best Actor for his work in HBO's Oz. And his film credits also include Miss Congeniality, The Crow, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Y'all, I told you he has an expansive portfolio, right? And he's also been featured in roles like Ballers, Blue Bloods, Twin Peaks, and Grey's Anatomy. And he's also a two-time cancer survivor. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 1998 and rectal cancer in 2011. So we're going to have a discussion with Ernie Hudson about his career, his health, and more. So let's bring on Mr. Hudson. Hi, Mr. Hudson. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Oh, it is so good to see you. You have been in some of the most iconic films in history over the past 4 decades. Like impressive, right? But can you tell us a little bit more about your journey as an actor?
Yeah, I became an actor in 1967. I've been very blessed to. I've always been able to make a living doing what I love to do, and I, my approach has always been the work, um, and it's been good. I was a single dad. I managed to raise my kids. Uh, Now I'm married and we have two additional kids. So I have four sons in all. But so all I can say is over the years, I've been very, very blessed and very, very thankful. Um, when you do the work, you don't think that, you never sure how they will be received, but it's nice after all these years that there are a few things that people really still appreciate.
Absolutely. You're a part of history. So you've worked with some legendary directors and actors. So is there anyone that you haven't worked with yet that's on your bucket list?
Well, there's so many amazing people out there who are doing incredible work.
Mhm.
I just like to work. So, I mean, no one comes to mind per se, but I'm always open to, yeah, to whatever the universe puts in front of me. But as long as I'm able to do the work and have fun doing it, that's to me, that's what's important.
Absolutely. I think I've heard that twice today from you and a friend. Be open and see what the universe brings you. That's a
Yeah,
sign.
that's not, and take care of yourself. So when it does bring you something, you're prepared to receive it.
Absolutely. So, how do you stay creatively inspired? Because you have been in the industry for over 40 years.
Yeah, I've always been looking for that ideal role. Sometimes a role will come along like Jamie Foxx when he got Ray, that is career defining, and I don't feel I've found that role. So I'm always sort of looking for that perfect role. But in the meantime, I'm thankful for what's there, but I still don't feel that I've completed my mission, so to speak.
Okay. Well, over the course of your long career, you have absolutely taking good care of yourself, because I know you've seen all the comments. Like,
Yeah, it's very nice to be noticed after all this time. I appreciate
we've seen you.
it.
Can you talk about how you kept in shape over the years and how you stay healthy now?
Yeah, I think from the very beginning, as an actor, unlike a musician, I don't have an instrument. My body is my instrument, so to speak. Um, and I realized that in this life you only get one body, so how you treat it, how you take care of it is very, very important. We ask for things, we wish for things, but to be able to receive those things and enjoy those things, we have to be um, hopefully in good health and hopefully able to. You don't want to get something you've been asking for and you can't even enjoy it. So I've always been aware that I have to be mindful. I have to be the one responsible
Mhm.
for looking into taking care of myself, because the world doesn't demand that, but it's something we have to demand of ourselves.
I really like that. You just made me think like I have to demand it for myself. Let me know
Yeah.
in the chat if you guys resonated with that, because that one right there, yes. Um, Many people over 60 face challenges while trying to maintain an active lifestyle, especially because a lot of them do retire and then it's like they try to get back in the swing of things. Now you're not retired and you're not retiring anytime soon, but what advice would you give to those who may be struggling to stay motivated?
Yeah, I think we live our lives looking forward to the day when we can do all these amazing things, but sometimes we don't prepare ourselves for that day, and when that day comes we're unable to do it because people aren't physically fit. And
Mhm.
so what I say to young people is there are consequences. Have fun, but don't don't be crazy with it. My grandmother would say, just don't do the dumb stuff.
Yeah.
You can party. My brother would party 5 days in a row. It was amazing to me. He'd leave home and he'd be partying, and he'd come home and drop, just fall asleep and sleep for days, and then get up and go party again.
Woo.
There's a consequence, and as you get older, you begin to feel all those things. So I always say, just use common sense stuff. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to, when you've done the work that you know you should do, then you can demand from your body, okay, we're doing this, and your body will respond. But you have to make sure that you're on top of your health.
Mhm.
You're on top of your checkups. You just don't let things get too far out of control. Your diet.
Mhm.
I don't eat just health. What considered health foods, but I might like a piece of cake, but I'm not going to sit there and eat the whole cake. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
you can't be crazy.
Now I have to know what kind of cake you like.
Well, I haven't found too many that I don't like. But that's yeah, and I think that's the great thing. I mean, obviously, that I'm doing this partnership with Pfizer about this RSV vaccine, and that was one of the reasons I was really excited about that, is because it allows me an opportunity to remind people
Mhm.
uh, that we have to be the ones, the stewards of our own health, and we have to just just to check in and
Mhm.
to double check, because and we can't rely on someone else to do that for us.
Right. Well, I want to go back to the RSV campaign in just a moment, but I want to, you just also mentioned something else about that relates to mental wellness being just as important as physical health. So, how do you maintain your mental and emotional well being while staying active in your career?
Well, I I've been married now for getting pretty close to 50 years.
Mhm.
We've been together at least that long, and it's so important for me to have someone in my life who I totally trust, and who is my best friend, um, who I can depend on to tell me the truth about myself and to remind me when I'm misbehaving. It's always good. It doesn't have to be necessarily a mate, but people in our lives who care enough about us to tell us the truth. Mental health is very important, and I think probably maybe the most important thing is I have to remind myself. You have to talk to yourself. You know, sometimes you got to have a conversation with yourself. Remind you just how much you mean uh,
Hmm.
to the world, how important you are. My grandmother would tell me that the universe would not be the universe without you, that you're a part of it. Without you, it's incomplete. So we're really important. We got to love ourselves enough to demand more of ourselves.
Hmm. Sounds like you had a very wise grandmother for sure.
Yeah, I think sometimes when there are people in your life who love you, I'm always mindful that I wouldn't do anything that would embarrass her. Even at
Hmm.
this late stage of my life, I kind of go, I can't do that. How would I explain it to my grandmother? It's like, so,
Well, going back to the campaign that you mentioned, can you tell us a little bit about the Pfizer rated RSV campaign? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you go into a little bit more about what made you passionate about being part of that campaign?
yeah, it's I was very excited to partner with Pfizer on this RSV because I just recently heard about RSV. I'd heard about it, but I thought it really impacted babies and children. That's when I heard a couple of stories in the news.
Hmm.
I wasn't aware that people 75 and older, our immune system as we get older, weaken and it can impact. It's a virus, and it can be very life threatening. I think the CDC says 60,000 to 160,000 people are hospitalized every year because of RSV. And if you're 60 and older with a chronic condition like diabetes, heart disease, asthma, COPD, um, it's a very it's awful. And but there is a vaccine that is available. I didn't know about this, and once I became aware, that it it does impact people my age.
Hmm.
I very much wanted to not only get the virus, but having the opportunity to remind people my age, and that it's not just something for kids. And the RSV campaign, R rated R,
Hmm.
uh, is just to say that for mature audiences,
Hmm.
because even at this stage, you want to always have fun in your life. You want to always be able to do those things. You want to party, or do whatever it is that you do. You don't want to be limited because you physically are unable to do what you do. And in order to do that, we have to, take care of our health, and seeing your doctor and on a regular basis. Even when you're feeling pretty good and you don't think you need it, it's really very, very
Hmm.
important. And this RSV is something that doesn't necessarily come to mind to people, but I'm here to tell you that it is important, and you should look into it. There's a site, vaxassist.com, that people can go and get information about it and see if they're eligible, and see how to arrange to get a vaccine. But it's like so many other things.
Hmm.
We used to joke about the adage in our community, "Black don't crack."
Right.
That's but I always say, yeah, but on the inside. I mean,
Oh, good
because
point.
we are, subjected to so many diseases that
Hmm.
are, more prevalent in our community. High blood pressure, and you go down the line, and we're impacted more than the general population. So we really have to be mindful. And even though we're looking good,
Hmm.
we have to make sure that we're also feeling good and that our internal organs are operating the way they should be.
I always think about James Brown. If you feel good and you look good, then you'll. I forgot the saying, but I just always
Yeah,
think of him when he was saying it.
yeah, no, I feel good like I knew I would, yeah, but, you might want to check with the doctor too,
Right.
because,
I do want to remind those watching that if you have questions, drop them in the chat because we're going to be coming up on our Q&A from the audience in just a few minutes. So you want to make sure you ask those questions that you've been dying to ask. And you mentioned, can you just kind of repeat that website again where people can go to learn more about the vaccines and if they're eligible?
yes, it's vaxassist.com.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's, it only takes a moment but it's something that we have to be the ones responsible to look into.
Mhm.
It's important.
So, do you consider yourself, I mentioned you were 78. Do you consider yourself 78 years young? Because I know I kept saying 78 years old, but I want to make sure I'm addressing that correctly. And then do you also still feel youthful even as you're approaching 80?
Yeah, I don't know what I just feel nothing really should change that much.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously we're in these bodies and time does its thing, but
Right.
um, you know, staying on top of our weight,
Mhm.
that's something that we just always have to be mindful. And when we see it slipping a little too far one way or the other, there are things we can do about it. Skincare. Um, I my my wife very early just made me aware of how important it was to clean my skin,
Mhm.
at night and in the morning, to moisturize, to do things. When you haven't done something, it shows over time.
Mhm.
And so taking care of your skin, getting a massage from time to time,
Yes.
um, you know, taking a Pilates class or
Mhm.
walking or just staying active. These are little things, but they're things that will add up over time. Drinking
Mhm.
water, it's so important. People who have friends who love to get together, they have a cigar smoking event, and I'm no longer invited because I'm like, I ain't smoking no cigars. I'm not putting all that smoke on my lawn. No, no, no. So you can, like, you can do anything, but you've got to use common sense.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and again, you were just dropping these gems that I'm like, this is the second time I'm hearing this. My nutritionist was like, you got to get on that water. I was
Yeah,
like, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's also look at. I mean, we have a choice. There's some foods that are good. It's kind of the same food, but that's prepared by someone else. That's a little bit
Yeah,
better. So just if you're going to eat something, try to go with the healthy stuff as much as possible. Now we all have our moments. I'm not
right.
saying but you can't have a moment every day. You know.
Uh-huh.
So.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. What are some you've mentioned quite a few tips as we've been chatting, but are there any other tips that you'd like to share about staying healthy as you age? Or do you want to share what it is you eat every day?
Yeah, well, I can't say, like I said, I'm not a health food junkie or whatever. I eat a lot of but if I'm going to eat meat, I try to you
Mhm.
want to get the uh, you know the better food,
Mhm.
grass fed or the eggs. You want to eat the eggs. And, my wife does all that sort of chopping, and she's very very conscious of it. But I do oatmeal because I read
Mhm.
somewhere it was supposed to be good for the heart. So
Mhm.
I usually don't eat until noon, and oatmeal is probably the one meal I eat pretty much every day unless I'm traveling. Um, and I prefer fish over red meats, and I don't eat bacon anymore, even though I like bacon. But I read someplace where it's really not good for you. One of my sons doesn't eat pork at all. I'm not advocating anything. I think there's a part of you that just knows that that's not good for me, and
Right.
So, just kind of look into it, because what's right for someone else might not be necessarily right for you, but you got to do those things that to listen to your body. Your body will tell you, you know. And if you eat this every day and you get a little sick, then maybe you shouldn't be eating that. It's
Mhm.
uh, you just have to pay attention, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat because we have approached our Q&A section for the audience to ask you some questions.
Okay. So the
Let's.
and I suppose this is to again, I team with Pfizer to just,
Mhm,
the reason I'm here is just to bring awareness to this RSV, but also
mhm,
just to bring awareness to just health in general.
mhm.
And yeah, that's yeah. So
Yeah,
just want to get that out there.
yeah. Let's see what questions we have from the audience. Let me see here. Um, Eunice Bethley wants to know, when is the season for the family business going to start? That's the question we want to know.
You know, I'm so excited that people love this show, Family Business. We're in our fifth season. We just finished fifth season, and hopefully we'll start up the sixth season. I'm one of the executive producers on the show, but it makes me very, very happy, um, with that show. Now, this fifth season, suddenly they had me take off my shirt, and I'm sort of in the bathtub, and I'm like, it's feeling a little awkward here, guys. I mean, it's a little, but it's so much fun. I think I shoot a couple people, so it's a little different character for me than, say, Ghostbusters,
Mhm.
but it's a lot of fun. I love the show. Great cast. Valerie Pettiford plays my wife. So hopefully we'll find out if we've been picked up. I think we should be, but it's a fun show to be on, be a part of. And
Yeah.
it's really about family. It's about this family that is, he just feels as a patriarch to do whatever he can to leave a legacy and to keep his family together in his own way. So um, I like the message that it sort of sends out.
Yeah, I love that show. Please tell Louis Skikar I said hello.
Yeah, no, he was just on. I think the Dancing with the Stars did a tribute to the old Soul Train show, and he was one of the
Yes.
dancers on Soul Train, and so I think they had him on the show, him and some other people. But he's just wonderful. He's wonderful. It's a
Yes.
wonderful cast of people.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I know we're running out of time, but I want to make sure that everybody is aware where they can check out, um, where they can find out more about RSV, because that, like you said, that's one of the main reasons you're here, is to spread that awareness. So I know I've already asked you
Right.
twice, but I'm going to ask you one more time just to let people know so they can hammer it home where they can find out
Okay.
more information.
Well, first of all, I just want to say to people, get your yearly checkup.
Yes.
Don't wait for something bad to happen. Even if you're feeling good, get your checkup. Talk to your doctor, your pharmacist, whoever your, medical health advisor. But go to vaxassist.com to get information on the RSV. Because I think I might have mentioned 60,000 to 160,000 people are hospitalized every year because of this, and there's a vaccine, so don't be negligent when it comes to your own health.
Mhm. I think that's some very great advice. So I want to make sure that everybody also heads over to blackdoctor.org, the website, because you have an interview coming out there as well, a written article. So make sure everybody, again, head over to blackdoctor.org, and you'll find articles about RSV and other health related matters. Ernie, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today.
I'm truly honored. It's great to talk to you, and yeah, it's just great to be a part of this community. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, everybody, stay connected to blackdoctor.org on all of our social media. And again, keep an eye out on the website because you want to check out this in-depth article with Ernie Hudson. So stay tuned. We have one more thing coming up for you.
This message is rated RSV. for mature audiences only. That's right. I know we're getting older, but we can still keep it sexy. Know what's also sexy? An RSV vaccine. And the bliss of knowing you're helping keep yourself protected. RSV is a highly contagious virus that can land older adults in the hospital. Adults like me, 75 or older, or those 60 or older with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes. Check eligibility and schedule an RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Is it getting hot in here? Or is it just me?